Robyn Batson, apologies. Robyn is the Group People and Community Partnership Managers for the Sussan Group and holds a Master of Business degree, a Graduate Diploma of Business and a Bachelor of Arts. Robyn has been with the Sussan Group for over 16 years and has an extensive people and culture background within the retail and fashion industry. Robyn is responsible for the people strategy and providing strategic advice within the business on people and development initiatives, including health and well-being, as well as overseeing the community partnerships for the Sussan Group. The Sussan business has had a partnership with Breast Cancer Network Australia since 2005, and Robyn has been instrumental in this. Sussan funded a BCNA research project and provided HR advisory expertise to explore the return to work experiences of women following breast cancer. The funding has allowed BCNA to understand gaps in support services and identify the programs, tools, and information that could best support women returning to work. Sussan is continuing to support this project through the development of a work and breast cancer hub on the BCNA website with resources for employees, employers, self-employed, and colleagues. So this looks like a really important talk. So over to you, Robyn.
Thank you. So I'd like to thank everyone for having me tonight as well. If we just move to the first slide. So I'm going to talk about the Sussan and BCNA partnership, but I'll just start with, I'm in charge of HR for 3 businesses, which is Sussan, Sportsgirl and Sussan Grey. So we employ women predominantly across all age groups, and then we have our community partnerships. So I wanted to share tonight what we do as an organisation and a bit about our culture, and it feeds on from what Catherine has just spoken about, but also the work we've done with BCNA, because to us that really applies, and our learnings from that would apply in our experience to employees that have had all types of cancer. So the Sussan business is an Australian iconic fashion retailer, and our workforce is 99% female. And as you heard, we've been a proud sponsor of BCNA since 2005. I've been part of it from the very beginning, and we're passionate, and we've been able to raise over 2.4 million in that time. I guess our partnerships come from our employees, and I have just surveyed them again in the last couple of weeks, and top of mind for our women is us continuing to support women and cancer. So that is a key theme that's just come through from our workforce again. So as you heard, we funded a project particularly around the return to work experiences of women following breast cancer, and I provided HR expertise into that. And we're continuing to support that program, as you heard. If I just go on to the next slide. We know with breast cancer that almost 20,000 women and 170 men will be diagnosed this year, and that obviously has a ripple impact on whether it's about family, friends, but also for employers and work colleagues. And I think for us as an organisation, we have had experience with both females and males, and with whether it's been breast cancer and other types of cancer. And I think my key message tonight is we've really had to adapt our support to each situation. Not one of those situations has been the same. So we really have to work through what is that return to work strategy that's going to work for both the team member and the business. And that's been really important in all of the situations. We've obviously got people on the shop floor to people in our office. If I can just have the next slide, please. So with the research which we funded with BCNA, and so we funded research, we've participated in focus groups with young women as well. What really came out of that were around the barriers and facilitators in transitioning an employee back into the workplace after a diagnosis or treatment, were people understanding about what their leave entitlements were. And I know with a lot of the questions, it's about the legal, what are the entitlements and things. So we obviously have leave entitlements. There's a financial impact. There's workplace flexibility, but invariably we hear about workplace inflexibility. And Catherine's really given some great insight tonight around some of those things to work through. Communication is key. Communication between yourself and your manager, communication with, in our area, the HR team and our return to work person is really important. Comes down to around the relationship that people have with their line manager and the physical and emotional toll of treatment. So they're often the key barriers and enablers. And I've just, whilst that came out of the research, I've just put around legal entitlements as well is really important that people understand the different legislation that exists. We've just lost the slide. Sorry, if I can have the next one. Okay. So this really just highlights that around, so communication as one of those enablers, how that works between the employer and employee. And I think in my own experience, you know, we've had people, confidentiality can be key, but if there's an open dialogue, it makes it a lot easier to work through how we can support our team member. And we've also often found that your broader team members sense something's going on. So where we've been able to work through that, we've had really good outcomes. Sometimes there's things about people not having the right guidance on the next steps. So that's where having a return to work plan and really focusing on what people can and can't do can really help in terms of that successful transition back to the workplace. We understand with the financial, and this came through in the research about people, the impact on finances when taking time off from work. And really, we would see what we can do as a business, but then there's other options around income protection and other financial support services, because that can be an important part of helping people in that time. Leave entitlements is about really understanding what are those leave options, what are the legal entitlements, but also we found that within our own experience that sometimes it's about people just needing leave of absence for a period of time and being able to support that. The relationship with line managers, often there can be these personality clashes, or people can have a really positive relationship, but that can be key to how that transition goes in the workplace. And flexibility can be things around, is there, I need flexibility of hours, is it flexibility of the job role, and what are the HR policies that exist in the organisation, and then there's legal obligations and things that can sit with that as well. And we've also found in our experience, understanding where the team member is, it might be that they just need to know if they need to go to a doctor's appointment, they've got that flexibility to be able to come in and out of the workplace as they need, but it depends on the type of role, and it's really working through that. If I can have the next slide. And this really just highlighted, what did people do after they were diagnosed? So 52% kept working. Some of those, there were no changes in duties or hours, some decreased hours, some changed duties only, and others decreased hours and changed duties. So you can see in the research that people need and choose to have different ways of continuing to work. 34% stopped temporarily. Took off days for a few weeks or took off longer, and we found that ourselves. Some have taken off 2 years in terms of leave of absence to work through that, so we have that dialogue. And then some have chosen to stop work permanently or change jobs altogether. Can I have the next slide? So, in there's a number of reasons for people making these decisions, and, and we've found this within our own workforce. They may not want to change work because they want to have normality, and work is really important, as Catherine said, in terms of having that normality and that routine. It may be about the financial impact. feeling well enough, keeping occupied, but also enjoying the social contact. And we've seen that connectedness in the workplace has been really, really important. The main reasons for changing work were really around reducing hours or duties temporarily, having time out to take care of themselves and focus on their health, and priorities in terms of the work no longer was seen as important as it used to be, and mental health diagnosis can be a reason for people choosing to change work in some way. And the main reasons for stopping work have been predominantly around mental health issues, priorities changing, lymphedema, fatigue, as we've heard about, and taking care of themselves to focus on their health. So there's a whole range of reasons there. Next slide, please. So what do we do? You know, that's sort of the research that's come out through the work that we've funded with BCNA, but how does that apply for us as an employer? And as I say, every workplace is different. We really pride ourselves about the culture that we do have. We understand about the importance of normality, the importance, and we've talked about communication, but really being, you know, able to listen to try and understand their situation. And as I've said, every situation has been different. We really, with people that have had breast cancer, we've been able to connect them with BCNA when they need that support for themselves or their families or friends. So that's how we leverage that partnership that we have. What has worked in, you know, one of our stores may not work in another workplace. And it's really understanding, and I think, you know, I know with a lot of the questions, there are the legal rights, but it's also understanding what the employer can and can't accommodate through this. So can reasonable adjustments be made? And I always want to focus on what team members can do rather than what they can't do, so that we can have that flexibility in approach. Making adjustments, whether it's hours, days, medical appointments, understanding there'll be good and bad days, and that's really important. And helping, you know, for us, it's helping our managers understand these things as well. The regular catch-ups are really key between the team member, the manager, but also we've found in our culture, the broader team, because they really want to be able to support where they can. And sometimes that can be that they're helping out with additional work in, you know, as part of that. Respecting confidentiality is really important, and really understanding from the team member what is important, who, you know, do they want people to know, don't they want people to know, how do we manage that? And as I've said, we've really had to adapt depending on where the team member works, whether it's stores or head office. And if I can just have the next slide, thank you. So we do look at things like leave flexibility, extended leave without pay. And as I said, it can be that we keep the position open and filling those roles with temporary contracts. So, you know, that can be for people sometimes for extended periods of time. And staying in touch is really key. So just because someone is out of the workplace, it's how we still have that ongoing relationship with them. Are some of the things that we look at in these situations in the workplace. If I just have the next slide. And I just thought I would just share tonight, and these are the resources that we've worked on with BCNA that I think, you know, really have application, you know, across workplaces and different types of cancer. There's obviously, you know, the Cancer Council itself have a range of resources, along with, you know, being able to provide legal support. But we really worked here, and, you know, you can access this information around resources for employees and for employers to help navigate through these situations. And a lot of work was put into those. If I can just have the next slide. And this is also, we just thought we would share with you, it was a YouTube one that I participated in around the challenges of work and breast cancer. And once again, it has some legal tips and things in there as well, in terms of what, you know, entitlements and legal obligations are of employers and employees. So that might be a useful thing to have a look at some time. And I think my last slide, I just thought I'd share, this was something we just had from one of our team members in the last couple of weeks. And it really, she had breast cancer, but she took the time, she's decided to leave. She's been out of the business for the last 2 years. But she just talked about my last 2 years going through the health issues, recovering from breast cancer. I'd like to thank everyone for all the support I received from everyone. It really made my journey less stressful and no pressure. I'm blessed to work and meet so many amazing women. Thank you for all your support. So that was just a really nice thing for us in terms of one of our team members that we've been able to support over an extended period of time that I thought I would share. Thank you.